Medicare's unfunded shortfall jumped by $6.9 trillion in a single year. That number came directly from the US Treasury Department's own financial statements, released just last week, to almost complete media silence. No cable news, no front page, nothing. And yet it is one of the most important numbers any retiree needs to understand right now, because that gap does not sit in some abstract government ledger. It flows directly into the premiums being taken out of your Social Security check every single month. Here's what is happening, why it keeps getting worse, and 3 steps you can take today to protect your retirement income. In March 2026, the US Treasury released its consolidated financial statements for fiscal year 2025. This is the government's official annual accounting, what it owns, what it owes, and what it expects to spend over the next 75 years on programs like Social Security and Medicare. It is public. Anyone can read it. Almost nobody did. And to be clear, this is not a partisan issue. This shortfall has been building for decades across administrations on both sides. What matters is what it means for you right now. Buried inside that report was a figure that should have made national news. The government's 75-year unfunded obligation for social insurance programs, Social Security and Medicare combined, surged by more than $10 trillion in a single fiscal year. $10 trillion added to the long-term funding gap in 12 months. That is a number almost too large to process. So let's break down exactly where it came from. The single biggest driver of that $10 trillion increase was not Social Security, it was Medicare Part B. Medicare Part B's projected 75-year shortfall jumped by $6.9 trillion in a single year. That is money the program is expected to need over the next 7 decades that it currently has no dedicated funding source to cover. And unlike Social Security's shortfall, which mostly affects future benefit levels, the Part B shortfall has a direct, immediate mechanism that hits your wallet right now. To understand why, you need to understand how Part B is actually funded. Most people know Medicare exists, most paid into it their entire careers. But very few understand that Medicare is split into separate parts, and each part is funded completely differently. Part A covers hospital stays, skilled nursing facilities, and hospice care. Most retirees pay zero premium for Part A. They paid into it through payroll taxes. Part A has its own dedicated hospital insurance trust fund. It has long-term issues, but it operates on a fixed funding model. Part B is completely different. Part B covers the care most retirees actually use most often: doctor visits, outpatient procedures, lab work, physical therapy, chemotherapy, and durable medical equipment. This is the part of Medicare that touches your life every single year. And Part B has no fixed dedicated trust fund the way Part A does. Instead, CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, recalculates the total projected cost of Part B every single year. They set the standard premium at roughly 25% of that projected per enrollee cost. The other 75% is funded by general tax revenue, the federal budget. What that means for you is this: when Part B costs go up, and they have gone up every single year for over a decade, your premium goes up with them, automatically. There is no cap on the annual increase. There is no law protecting you from year-over-year hikes. The cost goes up, the premium follows. That is the structure. And that structure is exactly why a $6.9 trillion hole in projected Part B funding is not abstract. It is a direct line to your monthly check. So let's look at the actual 2026 numbers, the ones that showed up in your check. In 2025, the standard Medicare Part B premium was $185 per month. That was already up from $174.70 in 2024. So you had absorbed 2 consecutive years of increases coming into this year. Then in 2026, the premium jumped to $202.90, $17.90 more per month. A 9.7% increase in a single year. That is the second largest Part B premium dollar increase in the history of the program. Only the 2022 hike was larger. For comparison, your Social Security COLA this year was 2.8%. Medicare's premium rose more than 3 times faster than your income, and that premium comes out of your Social Security check automatically before the deposit ever hits your bank account. You do not get a bill, you do not write a check. It is deducted before you see it. The annual Part B deductible also increased from $257 to $283 in 2026. $26 more out of pocket before Medicare pays anything on your outpatient care. These numbers stack. They do not show up as one line item, but they add up. Now let me show you the math the government did not put in a press release. The average retiree collecting around $2,000 per month received $56 more per month from the 2026 COLA. The SSA sent out notices. There were press releases, $56, your raise for this year. Then Medicare took back $17.90 of that automatically, off the top. Before you saw it, your real net gain in 2026, $38.10 per month. Not 56, 38, and that is the best case for people on the standard premium. If your modified adjusted gross income in 2024 was above $106,000 as a single filer, you are subject to IRMAA, an income-related surcharge added on top of the base premium. At the lowest IRMA bracket, your 2026 premium is $284.10 per month. At the mid-range, $405.80. At the highest bracket, $689.90 per month, before you use a single dollar of coverage. Critical point, IRMA is based on your income from 2 years ago. If you retired in 2024 and your income dropped, your 2026 premium still reflects what you earned while working. That is not an error, that is the law. And it is why the first action step matters so much. Take a look at this chart, because this is the picture that matters most long-term. Over the past 3 years, Social Security's COLA has averaged around 2.8% annually. Medicare Part B premiums over those same 3 years, 5.9%, 5.9%, and now 9.7%. 3 consecutive years where the premium hike beat the income raise. The Medicare trustees project that Part B cost growth will average 8.8% per year over the next 5 years. If that holds, and COLAs stay in the 2 to 3% range, the gap between your raise and your premium hike gets wider every single year from here. This is not a temporary squeeze, it is the structural direction of the program. Understanding what is driving it is the first step to planning around it. 3 things are driving Part B costs higher every year. None of them are going away. Force number 1 is demographics. There are now more than 75 million Americans enrolled in Medicare. That number has grown every year as the baby boom generation aged through 65. More enrollees means more total program spending, even before you account for what each person costs. The volume alone is a permanent upward force on the program's cost base. Force number 2 is the cost of new drugs. GLP-1 medications, Ozempic, Wegovy, are now covered under Part B for certain diagnoses. A single patient on a GLP-1 can cost the program $10,000 to $15,000 per year. Scale that across millions of enrollees, and one drug category moves the whole cost baseline. New cancer therapies, Alzheimer treatments, specialty biologics, that pipeline is only getting longer. Force number 3 is utilization. Older patients use more care, more chronic conditions, more procedures, more specialist visits. As the enrolled population ages, the average cost per enrollee climbs every year without any new drugs or policy changes. 3 forces, all permanent, all pointing the same direction. 3 steps, all free, nothing to buy, all of them actionable today. Step 1, check your IRMAA status and appeal it if you qualify. Your 2026 premium was set using your 2024 tax return. If your income dropped since then, retirement, reduced distributions, death of a spouse, divorce, or a business sale, you may be paying a surcharge that no longer reflects your actual financial situation. The appeal is SSA Form SSA 44. File it with the Social Security Administration with documentation of your income change. If approved, your premium adjusts. Most people who qualify never file this because nobody tells them it exists. Now you know. If your income dropped, file the form. Step 2. Put Medicare open enrollment on your calendar. October 15th through December 7th. Every year, during that window, you can switch to Medicare Advantage, change Advantage plans, or return to original Medicare. Advantage plans can offer lower total out-of-pocket costs depending on your situation, but the window is fixed. It does not extend. Mark it now. Review your options every year without fail. Step 3. Stress test your retirement plan against real healthcare inflation, not CPI. Most plans assume 2 to 3% annual inflation across the board. Healthcare for retirees runs 5 to 8% per year. Those are not the same number, and the gap compounds over decades. Ask your planner to run your projections using a 6 to 8% healthcare inflation line separately from your general expenses. If your current plan does not do that, you are underestimating your future costs in a way that does not show up until it is too late to fix. The $6.9 trillion number is not going to shrink on its own. Congress would need to restructure how Part B is funded, and there is no serious legislation on the table to do that right now. What that means, the pressure on premiums is not going away. Every year, the gap between what Part B costs and what it has to cover, it gets a little bit wider. And some of that gets passed directly to your check. You cannot control the program. You can control how well you understand it and how prepared you are for where it is heading. If this video covered something your financial advisor has not brought up, that is exactly what this channel is here for. Every week, Social Security, Medicare, estate planning, the retirement finance issues that actually affect what you take home. If you are collecting Social Security before your full retirement age and still working, the government may be quietly taking part of your check back, automatically with no warning. We will show you the exact dollar thresholds for 2026 and how to plan around it. Subscribe now so you do not miss it.